And away we go. It's the DFS Early Bird presented by Awesemo.com. Space. The final front. No, just kidding. It's not Star Trek. We're here to have some fun with some baseball. Dan Strafford, Josh Engelman. And if you're listening on iTunes or a podcast app, you have no idea what I'm talking about. That's fine. If you're watching on YouTube, you get it. You're in on the joke. And hit the like button. I mean, come on. Dan Strafford, Josh Engelman along with you on this Friday morning, getting ready for a 14-game Major League Baseball slate. This is it. Well, I guess there's Saturday too, but this is it for Josh and I for baseball. There will be a slate, not hiatus in the pod, but hiatus in coverage specifically for sport on the podcast. Basketball is not far off. We will continue to bring you content here on the DFS Early Bird, of course. But Josh, how the hell are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm excited to put baseball to bed. Tomorrow's going to be a long one. Strategy show in the morning, live before lock as well. But after that, I'm just going to feel like a weight has lifted off my shoulders.
You'll see where I'm going with this eventually. When you were growing up and an animal passed or something happened that your parents were trying to explain, what did they go to a farm in upstate? Like, was that something? Is that what you want to do to baseball right now? You just want to euthanize the hell out of the sport?
I absolutely want to. I did not have any pets growing up.
Okay.
I was told quite specifically that I cannot take care of myself, therefore I cannot have an animal.
I have had the same conversation with my oldest. So
yeah, I had a hermit crab, and that was it.
She's a genius, much smarter than I am. Maybe not a genius. That's a very boastful word, but she's very smart. And the other day, she goes to leave the house and she never washed her face. Like, I mean, full on, like, just had food on her face. And on the walk, like, after I get her to wash her face, and my wife also was on top of her for it as we're leaving, she turns the corner and a dog walks by. I really want a dog. I was like, listen, I'm going to need you to be able to wash your face before leaving the house, before I think of another thing that can crap on my rug.
Exactly.
Coming into the house.
Yeah. My parents knew that I wouldn't have taken care of the dog.
Well, it's the problem. I'll do it. No, you won't. Let's be honest. Nonetheless, baseball is in its final days here. Obviously, the playoffs just around the corner. That will, as always, influence how some of these games play out. If you are playing baseball, enjoy it. If you are getting to this final stage here, just be mindful of lineups, be mindful of changes, be mindful of the fact that obviously in the National League, especially, pinch hitters and bullpens are expanded. So you'll have to deal with that next year. They're reducing the rosters in September, and thank the Lord for that.
Yeah.
That I've been yelling about that for way more years than I would admit when it comes to fantasy sports, of the fact that September roster expansions is one of the silliest things in all of professional sports. But
hate it.
Here we are. We're finally getting a reprieve next year. We have 4 pitchers above 10K, 1 just below. And if I were to, on April 15th, May 1st, June 1st, have told you, Josh, that Marcus Stroman would be 10-3 and Anthony DeSclafani would be 9-9, what would your response have been?
When did they add? Now that's going to be a bad joke. I was going to say, when did they add AAA DFS? But that's not true, because Stroman's actually good and DeSclafani's good against half of the people he faces. It would have been incredibly surprising, that's for sure. I would have thought that both of them took giant leaps forward in.
Right, and they pitched in Oracle Park every single damn time.
Right, yeah.
They were traded to the Giants and only pitched at home.
Yeah, that game's in San Francisco, and I don't know, something else happened that's bad. They're playing the Marlins. Right. Especially, by the way, it was like 15 minutes ago that the Mets allowed Zach Wheeler to give up 2 home runs and to blow his 2-0 lead and 10K performance. So kudos to the Mets for that one. Thanks.
Well, I will say, who's it? Dean over at RG tweeted out a image of or a video of Wheeler hitting clearly a strike, but the catcher had to reach back across the zone, and which is a taboo for umpires. Well, the catcher wasn't set up properly, and then next pitch was a home run. And it just was amazing to see that how quickly baseball can unravel, right? Like, it's football. Yes, there can be a cornerback can slip or something can happen and a big play can happen, but still you're within 1 score typically when that happens. Baseball, yes, it's 1 run, but when that momentum shifts, it seems, is just a different beast. And Unfortunately for Wheeler, he went from being up 2-0, having one of his best starts of the year, to being in line for the loss.
Yep. 10 Ks, 3 hits at the time, and then he gave up dong and then dong. Now he's going to get the loss. From a fantasy perspective, that's a bit of a swing, as I played quite a bit of Zach Wheeler today. So kudos to the Mets. Goodbye, baseball.
As you should have. The Mets never leave a pitcher in too long. We've never seen that before. But let's dive in here. Sorry, Mets fans. I apologize. That was very rude of me.
It could have been Boston.
That's true. The Dark Knight will rise again. He may not be Matt Harvey, but he'll rise again. So we got Walker Buehler against San Francisco at 11-7. This is in Oracle Park. And then James Paxton in Texas. Berrios at Kansas City 10-8 and Stroman 10-3. Taking that as our first tier here. And we're going to go through this pretty quickly. We're going to talk starting pitching, then we'll talk some top stacks. It's an interesting group of pitchers in the middle tier. But Buehler seems to be far and away the best pitcher and best situation late. Price point obviously gives us a little bit of pause on DK. I'll check Yahoo momentarily. But would you agree there that Buehler makes a ton of sense? It's just figuring out what offenses you want to put with him and seeing if you can get there?
Yeah, I don't see a way around him, really, unless we get word that he's not going the full freight.
Yeah.
But they're not going to play for. I mean, he should be able to get full rest. Would he start Kershaw game 1?
Well, I mean, Kershaw in the playoffs is terrible, Josh. You know that. Come on.
Of course.
He can't pitch in the playoffs. I would think he would be rested then for the playoffs. I don't think you start Ryu. I know he had a home run too, so might as well get his bat in the lineup. But I would think it'd be Kershaw Buehler. I think would be 1-2, and then Ryu game 3.
Then he can make a full start and be ready.
Yep.
I mean, either way, I think he would be able to be, but actually, what's the schedule look like? MLB schedule playoffs, because I think that kind of matters. Game 1 for the Dodgers is Thursday, so yeah, he can pitch a complete game today, and it doesn't, or tomorrow, and it doesn't matter. There it is. We'll get there. Yeah, it's got to be Buehler. I mean, to be able to get him in San Francisco, I don't really have a ton of interest in Paxton in Texas. Berrios really isn't worth 10.
Paxton to me is another one that I can't imagine goes more than 5 innings.
No, not at all. And I mean, the difference between San Francisco and Texas is about as stark as it gets.
Right. And do we have, I'm seeing for, hold on here. Let me just scroll through and see if I have something on MLB.com that makes a little bit more sense. Nationals is Voth, right? Like Nationals Indians is Voth is starting. Patrick Corbin is not starting for the Nats, correct?
That's a great question. I assume we're all looking at the same thing.
Corbin.
Yeah, I see Voth.
Yeah, so I see Voth and MLB. FanDuel has Corbin as their probable pitcher for the Nats. And the only reason I bring that up is on FanDuel, Corbin is 10-4, and then Buehler is 10-2. So I was just pointing out that Buehler not the most expensive pitcher. And even if Corbin were starting here, I don't see how he's more expensive than Walker Buehler in Oracle Park. So I agree with you that I'm not on Paxton. Don't want to go there. Matchup's not great. Also, Park's not great. Also, probably not going a full freight, as you said. Berrios, Stroman, DeSclafani, Keuchel. Any of these guys, I guess you could convince me of Berrios, but his K numbers aren't nearly what they should be on the year, and he's shown us that he's walking a few more. He's not as consistent. Stroman, I love. Marcus Stroman's one of my favorite pitchers in all of baseball to watch pitch because he pitches like he's a position player. He pitches like he's Deion Sanders with the Atlanta Falcons. Like he is just, he has that mojo for him, but he's not a strikeout guy. Nope. He does have some upside at times, but Atlanta's not a team I want to go after. DeSclafani against a Pittsburgh team that doesn't strike out a lot. Keuchel, not a strikeout guy. Is there anybody else in this top end that you think is worthwhile beyond Buehler?
Depending on what the Dodgers run out as a lineup, like sure. do we think about $9,300 Johnny Cueto?
I mean, we can turn back the clock one last time.
Yeah. I mean, he went 5 Ks, 5 walks in his last start. Now, it really is Bueller and nobody else up there. I mean, if DeSclafani happens to get like 7 righties or something crazy, then yeah, I mean, you make the decision on DeSclafani fully based on whatever the actual lineup is. If it's 6 lefties and you're like, okay, I'm out because he's 9,900. There's no wiggle room here.
What's amazing is I agree completely. And it's funny because I don't think I'm smarter and I want this well known than any major league manager. They obviously are doing a job that I don't do. But it'd be amazing to see an MLB manager run out a righty heavy lineup against DeSclafani. Like it doesn't take much to look up the numbers and see, oh, wait, he really struggles against lefties. Oh, whatever. It's
crazy.
Just run out whatever lineup you want.
He's given up a 208 X ISO over the past 2 years. That's 2,254 pitches.
Figure out another pitch.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the fastball gets annihilated. The slider gets annihilated. If it really is a knuckle curve, that gets annihilated.
That is not. I don't. I think that's someone being polite to him. That's a knuckle curve, at least against lefties. But let's continue on. Here we go, mid-tier, and it gets ugly. So this is the end of the year. We're going to have some intriguing names simply because of guys who have not had as much run or guys who are just not good. So you have Austin Voth against Cleveland. Can't go there. I get that there's some pedigree here from a minor league career, but is not a guy that I think has a ton of upside against a Cleveland team that is pretty damn good. So you have Voth, you have Justice Sheffield, another name that I like a lot. I'm not pitching a lefty against the Oakland A's as they continue to just beat the crap out of the ball. Plesac against Washington. I guess we could play similar to DeSclafani. Let's wait and see what the lineup is as the Nats get towards the playoffs. They've clinched a wild card berth, and there's a lot of different scenarios of who travels where and whatnot. So maybe they water it down a little bit here. So here we get into names that I think at least I want to do a bit more research on is Dakota Hudson against the Chicago Cubs team that is struggling mightily. They have tons of injuries. I'm not a Dakota Hudson fan. I don't think he's a great major league pitching prospect over the course of his career, but I at least want to understand what lineup the Cubs run out there. Urquidy, against the Angels. We've talked many times over about it being without Ohtani. If Trout continues to be injured and all those things, as we've talked about over the past couple of weeks, that would be intriguing. And then Tyler Glasnow against Toronto at 6,900, obligatory nice. What do you make of the mid-tier? It feels like there's at least some upside in some of these names at numbers that aren't that offensive from DraftKings.
Yeah, I do want to say one thing before we keep going. DeSclafani is $37 on Yahoo. I think that's more than viable. We kind of broad brushed him.
Logo keeps weirding me out. I keep thinking it's not the tab I need to go to because they've updated the Yahoo Y exclamation point, and I keep thinking I have the wrong thing open.
Yeah,
it looks different. Nefarious, but it's just I feel like, oh no, that's not what I need, and then I have it open already. So yes, that is a good call on DeSclafani.
Yeah, if the Cubs ran out the same lineup they ran out yesterday, then Dakota Hudson's certainly going to look more appealing at 8,100. Urquidy against the Angels almost has to be in play. He hasn't been super incredible lately, except for that 10K outing against Oakland, which you really wouldn't expect. But I think that he'll have to get looked at. You want to go to Glass now, but 3 innings, 2 innings in his last 3 appearances. The only 3 appearances that he's made, they're not going to run him out there for an 8-inning affair in the last game of the regular season. It's just not happening. For last game of the regular season for him, I mean. Otherwise, you would want all of the Glass now at 6,900. So I would guess Urquidy and Hudson are the guys that push forward the most. But I think we're starting to see that if you're going to go to Walker Buehler, you're probably just grabbing one of the garbage bags at the bottom.
Are we talking like hefty or are we talking store brand? Because I'd like It's a big, and Hefty is not sponsoring this episode.
No, by garbage bag, I mean like when you use a plastic grocery store bag as the garbage bag.
I think it might be going down a different.
No, just like a faux garbage bag.
Right,
There's a lot of slop at the bottom.
Yeah.
But one in particular, I think, is going to get owned in a really staggering amount.
Okay, so we get, and I don't know how cheap you're thinking when you're talking about slop there, but
as cheap as it gets.
All right, so Velasquez is at 6,200 against the Marlins at home. We've seen what he can do. Good, the four-seam fastball or whatever his fastball is gets tattooed. Like when he gets sort of middle of the zone up, he's giving up home runs. And so the Marlins are not a team you fear as much there. He's pretty good against righties. 6,200 would assume he'll have a decent amount of ownership here. You have TJ Zuck, Skoglund, Joe Palumbo, who sounds more like a New York City detective than a Major League Baseball pitcher, but fine. Good for Joe Palumbo being in the majors. Wojciechowski, Gonzalez, Davies, Clark, Brault. Oh, you're going to Eovaldi, aren't you?
I think you have to. I mean, Velasquez looks great because he gets Miami, and he's 6,200. He could blow that price tag clear out of the water.
Yep.
Wow, his last couple starts have all been on the road. But, I mean, he went for 23 against the Braves in his second most recent start. If he goes for 23 at 6,200, you're very, very happy. Boom bust for sure, but the price tag makes it a little bit softer, and clearly just facing Philly or facing Miami is fantastic. But you mentioned it. Eovaldi's 4,100. Unless we hear that he's only throwing an inning or two, and I don't really understand why that would be the case. He went 6 4 days ago. Even if he goes 4 like he did in the previous couple starts, he's 4,100. I've rostered way worse than Eovaldi at 4,100. So, I mean, Chichi Gonzalez is $800 more expensive than that. So
yeah. Well, I mean, Eovaldi's shown you enough over his career that a 55 to 6K price tag, if he's going 6 innings here, would be okay. Like you may not roster him, but you could understand the upside there. I would agree with you that he will be pretty darn popular if we get any sort of sense of his pitch count. What is he? He's been. Well, he
threw 100 pitches in his most recent start.
And there's no reason of all it's not like it's Sale or Price where they're trying to protect him. They're going to run him out there and let him throw. So Eovaldi, I will say that Velasquez is going to be at least part of the build and seeing Urquidy at 7,500, and then you get Buehler at the top. I think this is one of those times, and I know it's the second to last day of the year, third to last day of the year when it comes to Major League Baseball, but ownership projections matter. And so what Alex and team have done in building, Alex meaning Osmo, have built with the ownership projections is important. And I've made this stipulation. It's not 100% accurate. It's not that because they say it's a 32% ownership that the guy's going to be 32% owned in every tournament. That's factually impossible. But it gives you a sense of where the crowd may be going. And so when you see a slate like this and Velasquez is 29 to 35% owned, that's a pivot time because Velasquez can blow up and maybe even take one of the Marlins bats. But if you see Velasquez at a 12 to 15% ownership, you got to work with it and understand that. And it's been a great learning experience over the past year of using the ownership projections and using projections and meaning score projections and pulling those two things together and understanding how to build off them. I will be intrigued to see NBA in that light, just to see, because NBA is a different beast when it comes to all those things. Yeah, it's my best sport. I don't know, is it your best sport?
Yes. In DFS?
I'm everybody's best sport seems to be NBA on Twitter.
My best sport is baseball.
When it comes to DFS?
Yeah. My favorite sport, bar none, is basketball. But yeah, financially, my best sport is actually baseball.
I think by ratio, my best sport is NASCAR, which is complete BS. But
soccer's been great for me for the first 4 weeks.
You just deal with that. All right, so we talked through the starting pitchers. Clearly, there are enough slop bags. Is that the phrase we're going to use? Trash pitchers.
Bags?
Yeah, no, you said slop at the end, the bottom of the bag. So
Okay.
slop bags is what I'm gonna combine
Wow.
to be one.
Eovaldi's minus 207 tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's going to be my most owned pitcher, bar none, unless we get information that he's only going an inning or two.
What is he? He's $33 on Yahoo. I will point out and check my math here, Josh. The Detroit game is not on the main slate on DK, right?
Is it on any slate?
It's so there's a double header for Detroit. And Yahoo has their start time around 7:40. So Matt Boyd is listed as the starter for the night game.
Okay.
Now it's double header.
I don't see it
as a 4:10. It's a twilight, the old school double header. Like it's a blast from the past. Detroit realizes that their fans aren't buying 2 tickets for one game, and so they're running out one entry. So I'm sorry, it's the White Sox. Sorry, the White Sox are home. The White Sox are realizing no one's buying 2 tickets to go to a White Sox Tigers game. So it does look like Yahoo has that game on their slate. So that is just sort of a warning of sorts. If you are doing projections, you're trying to understand how they're all working. They have 15 games, whereas 14 games on DK. And I assume FanDuel is the same.
Yeah, FanDuel is the same.
Yeah.
Hey, on Yahoo, you could play the all day. You can get that game in there twice.
Oh, well. I would be so confused in trying to figure that out. Offenses, where do you feel, at least at present, you'll have the most ownership or teams or individuals that you most like in their matchups?
Have to assume that Brewers and Rockies are going to make up quite a bit of hitting exposure, just being able to get cores on the slate. We've got 2 games as of right now that have totals north of 10, Baltimore and Boston. So certainly going to be looking at Red Sox bats. Given the amount of Eovaldi that I'm going to have, I doubt that I'm looking at Baltimore. And then Yankees and Texas in particular, the Yankees minus 254 favorites, 11-run implied total in Texas. Yankees are going to be, like 5.8 to 6-run implied total game. So Yankees, Red Sox, cores. Oakland against Justice Sheffield is going to be in play. Houston against Sandoval is going to be in play. We just have to see something like Houston ran out. They sat Alvarez, but they ran out most of their guys today, so it wasn't too crazy. There's going to be a lot of offense available, and because of Eovaldi's price, because of Velasquez's price, I think it's going to be really easy to pair Buehler with someone and get really good offense. There's too many different options.
Yep, I think that is right. I think you're going to get some widespread ownership on offense. So it does feel like potentially going chalk at pitching doesn't hurt as much. Yeah. Where you can differentiate this widely on offense. I will point out, as I have probably too many times here on the podcast, for those of you who listen on a regular basis, the Arizona Diamondbacks crush left-handed pitchers. And it's been one that continues to be a strange moment for me. And I need to do this. Eric Lauer is a lefty, right? Okay.
He is.
I always Lauer, all of them, Paddock, Lauer, and who's the other San Diego?
Trevor Hoffman.
No, not Trevor Hoffman.
No.
I appreciate that. What the hell is the other young pitcher out there? I always mix them up. So this will be a place where the Diamondbacks, I will check their ownership, check the lineup. I may have some Diamondbacks here simply because they've done it all year long and have made me check numbers too many times. Like multiple times I've been like, wait, is this right? Is their ISO against lefties actually what it says it is?
221, their active roster this year. 118 weighted runs created plus.
Yeah,
it's third,
insane.
I believe. Nope, fourth.
It's been insane. And so lineup matters here, obviously. Again, this is a team that's not playing for anything, so they might shift some things around, try to see what they have with some youngsters who are on the roster. But I will check in on the Diamondbacks as the day goes on Friday. Any final thoughts? Any final thoughts on the MLB season as we come to a close? Big sigh of relief, big deep breath.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about it. I don't really follow it, which probably sounds so ridiculous, but so many people have heard me say it. I don't really know anything that's going on in the standings until the end of the season when we're just trying to figure out if people have anything to play for. Like, I had no idea. I know the Tigers stink.
Yep.
I didn't know that they only won 46 games.
Yep. Number one
That's
pick
pretty
of the
bad.
world. Yeah.
I didn't realize that 4 teams have lost 100 games.
Yeah, tanking's for real.
I guess. So Tigers with the first pick next year, I guess, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Lucky them.
And it's not like it's the NFL. Like,
No.
it's like you're picking a 17-year-old kid or a 20-year-old kid from a college. You're like, we really hope he's going to be in the majors in 5 years. Wait, what? Like, that's really what your plan is here, guys? That's how this is going to work out.
And yet you can't trade draft picks.
Yeah. It's
so stupid. So stupid. Shouldn't like if the Tigers could have traded Nick Castellanos for picks as well?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would have been great for them.
Yep.
They could have traded Matt Boyd for whatever and a bunch of picks and replenish their farm system in a major, major way. I don't know. Problematic, I guess.
It would seem it is in some way. Not really sure what it is, other than MLB continuing their odd domestic v international process of signing players and drafting players and the like. So, with that said, as always, you can find Osmo on Twitter at Osmo_com. I know the social guys over at Osmo are pumping out another free giveaway, so check that out. You want to be privy to that. We are giving away 3 months, 1 month, a full year, depending on what week it is and what the contest is. So check that out. Always want to be following there. Osmo NFL, Osmo MLB. Don't forget, each and every week, Yahoo DFS is bringing you new NFL contests. There are some that are management fee free. You'll want to check those out. But also, they have the Baller Tournament, which continues to be a nice supplement to what DK and FanDuel are doing. So if you're trying to build that bankroll or try out some new lineup construction, check them out each and every week. You find Josh on Twitter at Josh Engelman. He's not on there much, but you can find him. And then you can find me, of course, at Dan Strafford. I'm on there too much, so maybe that evens everything out. And then, as I said, Osmo_com. We're hoping that Dave Lochran has a successful and happy night in Lambeau Field as we're recording this. I hope he gets home safe because I assume Green Bay's fine. It's not like being a Green Bay fan going to Philadelphia, being a Philadelphia fan going to Green Bay. Those are two vastly different experiences, I am sure, but we hope he does well. You will get free shows all day over there on YouTube where you're watching this video. You're listening on iTunes or any of the podcasting apps. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, like the videos, leave comments. We love reading them. I especially read all the comments because I'm that narcissistic. So you can leave any comment you want. And make sure to hit that alarm bell because that tells you every time we go live with a new stream. And there's a crap ton of them on Friday. There's a Yahoo specific NFL show. There's a strategy show. There's just so much content all day long. Check that out from Osmo.com. Oh, and I guess I should say early bird, 50% off your first month over at Osmo.com. Promo code. I got it all in, Josh.
You did. You hit them all. You hit them all.
Check boxes are done. With that said, best of luck on Friday. We'll see you back here on the DFS Early Bird presented by Osmo.com.